I was riding the Amtrak down here from Connecticut the other week, and this girl was sobbing almost the entire ride. Now, of course, here I am sitting here. I didn't ask her what was wrong or anything. I mean, it looked like a very emotional time for her, but I couldn't help but just sit there and wonder, like, man, did she just kind of like break up with her boyfriend and like that's all it is? Or like, did she just lose her mother or something like that? Like they're just like, you just never know what people are going through.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into another episode of The Found Generation, a self-improvement podcast. Once again, we are making history on the show, as we have done frequently throughout the year of 2023. The first ever in-studio episode of the show. This is not some fakakta mobile edition of me just shooting on my phone with some handheld microphones. No, this is a legit studio at Vox Media in the financial district of New York City. It doesn't get any bigger than this. To think of where we started, Connor, when the first time you appeared on this show, I was in Denver and you appeared on the show at the same time with Jake to tell a lot of embarrassing stories about me. I mean, We've come quite a long way.
Yeah, I mean, I was in my bedroom in Connecticut. I mean, you said it. We're in
You had a green screen.
Green screen, yeah. Green screen behind me, stuffed into my bedroom in Connecticut. I mean, jammed up right behind the desk. You said it. I mean, we're here in, for the viewers, we're in beautiful financial district, New York City, real studio. We got plaques on the wall. Shout out to The Verge for passing 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So, yeah, we're here. We're in the mix. Times have changed.
Times have changed, and times have changed quickly. I'm going to hit you with this hard-hitting question first. First, just quick backstory. Me and Connor worked together at ESPN for a couple of years. We toiled in the trenches together, overnights, weekends, various odd jobs, trench work, hated our lives, and we talked about it all the time.
Oh, yeah. Much so, just before you dive in, I know you're about to say something. So much so that you were like, I got to stop being around Connor so much because he hates his job so much that he's so negative about it.
Because there was a time where, like, I got out of it. Yes. I finagled my way somehow. Because at ESPN, like, there was a long line of production assistants who were trying to become producers full-time. We were all part-time. And it's just kind of like seniority. You get full-time, like one person's out, the next person who's been there the longest gets promoted. And I somehow skipped the line and transitioned from radio over to podcasting, which was a much more glorious life. But I left you guys in the dust in radio. You guys hated your life. I was loving my life.
Yes.
And so I was just surrounded by pretty much everyone in radio, including yourself, who was just bitching and moaning all the time about how much it sucked. And it was a downer on me.
Yeah, I mean, my poor parents, the amount of times I would call my parents just in a fit of rage and they would just have to deal with it. Yeah, dark times, but things have gotten better for sure.
So you're 30 years old now.
30, yes, crazy to say.
When you were 26, 27, and it's a Saturday morning, a screenless Saturday, me, you, and our friend Jake are at Parkside Cafe. You're meeting us there at 7:30, 8 a.m. after you've just worked until 7 a.m. on a Friday into Saturday morning. What would you tell that Connor? What would 30-year-old tell 26-year-old Connor?
Man, don't go to breakfast. Go to sleep. Please, God, just go to sleep. That is not hyperbole. Working a shift from 10 p to 7 a. on a Saturday and then having to be back in at 3:30 p on the same Saturday. So much so the boss is like patting me on the back as I'm leaving. He's like, go get you a nap, kid. I'm just like, go fuck yourself, dude. Like, go fuck yourself. So I'd go to breakfast with you guys and then I'd go take a nap. What would I tell him? I mean, just keep pushing, keep grinding. That's really all you can say in this industry. And anytime anyone asks me for any sort of advice, I'm like, you just got to grind, dude. Like, you got to grind and you got to get lucky. Like, that's really what it is. You put in the work, opportunity meets luck, meets preparation, meets all that, and it can work out for you. But yeah, you're just going to have to grind and you're just going to have to keep pushing through it.
What were you hoping for at that point in your life? Like, what did you think you were building toward? What did you want to accomplish? Where did you want to go?
It's actually a funny question because I don't know what I'm doing right now in terms of building and hoping for and all that. I feel like I've had that conversation with you in terms of like, I don't really know like what my dream scenario is. So I'm just kind of like pushing forward. Back then, I was just looking for stability and not working on overnight shifts and having more of a normal life. I wouldn't really say my work-life balance has like improved a ton since then. I'm still like very much working all the time. But I think I was just looking for more stability, more comfort, feel at least like I am building something right now. Like I feel like I am doing something where like I enjoy the show that I work on. I enjoy what I do. Like it feels like I'm working at least towards something, where at ESPN, it was like it's like you're working retail.
Yeah.
Like you're just shoveling hours in to get shitty pay, and like essentially nothing comes from it.
Yeah, I've done a lot of introspection recently about my career and when I feel the most fulfilled in it. And I've discovered that you need a feeling of forward momentum, the feeling that you're going somewhere. I've been a bit stuck, like things really haven't changed at all in the last year. I feel a bit like I'm not really going up at all. I'm just kind of doing the same thing and not really improving that much. Whereas with you, I feel like since you started this new job at Vox Media, summer 2021, you've just kind of been on like a rocket ship, getting more, like you're getting recognized left and right. We were at a live show that you guys did last night, and people know who you are. The crowd just popped for you, as we say in the business. They gave you a large applause. You have a lot of people, like 20,000-ish followers on X or something. Like you're a pretty big deal in this like very like niche corner
incredibly
of
niche.
the world that we deal with MMA.
Incredibly niche. Still wouldn't say I'm a big deal. A lot of it has to do with the circumstances of what I work on, working with, Ariel and everything. Like he's obviously the star of the show and everything. So it's kind of like happened circumstance. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like, given the opportunity here, which is kind of what I was craving at ESPN, like the creative freedom, being able to do what I want, be able to really feel like, okay, I want to do this to make the show better. Let's do it. Where at ESPN, a lot of the times it was like, I want to do this to make the show better. And it was just like, we don't do that here. We're not going to do that. And like I mean, like in this new iteration, this new job, this new show, like Ariel is like, let's get on the air. Let's talk. I want as many people on the air.
Yeah.
At ESPN, it was like, you're a producer. Know your role.
Yes.
So like, there really wasn't any opportunity for anything like that in the last job. So yeah, I mean, it's fun and yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with what I'm saying right now, but yeah, it does feel kind of like building towards something, creative freedom, yada yada yada.
The creativity, there's so many things about you that impress me, but the creativity that you've shown working on this show, the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, my host as well, like big deal. You've shown a side in the last 2+ years that I didn't know you had at ESPN. Like you said, it's kind of stifled that creativity and it kind of unmotivates a lot of people to be creative. But you have shown a completely new side that I didn't know existed, making graphics, making like your set design, studio design. You really lean in. That's another one of my favorite things about you. And we'll talk about that later. But I'm just curious, what is your creative process? We all have our own, like, oh, I go for a long walk and it just hits me. The shower just hits me. For me, I'm kind of like, okay, give me 30 minutes of undistracted focus time and let me just like bullet 20 things that I'm thinking about. How do you come up with your ideas?
Yeah, there's no specific way for it. Like I don't have a method or anything like that. Like it just comes to me. But I think one thing that I will say is that when it comes to me, I go and grab my laptop, open it up, and I just start doing it, which I feel is very beneficial for me, rather than just sitting on an idea. Like at any given time, I have 0 ideas in my head because when an idea comes to me, I just try to do it as fast as possible and just try and get it out there.
Yeah.
Like I don't sit on anything. I don't like waste any time with it. In terms of like creative process, I don't know. Like it's just the internet, I guess. Like I'll be on the internet and I'll be like, oh, this would be good. And then you dig a little deeper. Like there's an unlimited amount of resources on the internet, and like creators, I guess, if you want to call them that, designers. There's so many resources. Like Envato Elements has been an inspiration for a lot of things that I've done. Just going on Twitter, Instagram. Like, I mean, there's so many creative people out there that you can kind of like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, oh, that's, kind of like take from other people, but make it your own at the same time.
What is your biggest area of improvement, would you say, since you've started working on this show?
Oh, man, what have I improved?
Yeah.
Man, Probably like working with the technical aspect, like the graphic design, the Adobe Cloud, essentially, like video editing. Don't do as much audio editing anymore. We leave that to Mysterious Frank. Graphic design, everything like that. Like I feel incredibly confident behind Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, all that. Where when I started here, I was like, yeah, I can do that, like kind of with my fingers behind my back. But now I feel very confident with it.
The funny thing is, though, like the work, and I hope you don't take this wrong way, the graphics that you pump out aren't like the best graphics. They're probably stuff that like a legitimate graphic designer would look at and be like,
this is not good.
This is making it onto a show that has millions of views every week.
Yes.
But you kind of lean into the, like, I know I'm an amateur at this. Let me make this as ridiculous as I can. And it'll be just funny how bad it is sometimes.
Make it themed, make it whatever. Just like make it your own. But I do agree. The amount of times that I've said, we need a designer. We need a designer. We need a designer. Why am I making this thumbnail? I am not a graphic designer. But yes, I agree with you. Amateur-ish.
Yeah. The media business is a grind. MMA on top of that is even more of a grind. How do you deal with that?
Yeah. Just take it day by day, right? I mean, complain a little bit along the way. Like, I mean, in the middle of the summer. So we do these breakdowns. We do a betting podcast called No Bets Barred. We break down every card every time there's a UFC card. And at one point this summer, I think it was starting the first week of June, we went all the way to the third week of September. So, I mean, you're talking about 3.5 months. Like you're essentially talking about almost an entire NFL season, and you're doing it every single week. And then you get 1 week off, and then it's right back for another 5 weeks in a row. And then pay-per-view weeks are extra busy. It's just a grind. There's no other way to describe it. Like you just got to take it day by day. I salute anyone that there's people that do it out there for fun. I'm just like, y'all are next level. Like there are people out there who have YouTube channels that do not get a ton of views. Like they're definitely not making a lot of money off of it, and they are breaking down cards every single week. I'm just like, that's just love of the game right there.
Yeah. So you first got into the sport, really, I know, you'd watch the McGregor cards and the Rousey cards, like the big ones in the earlier portion of the 2010s. But the pandemic was really when your interest in MMA spiked up because it's the only sport going on. You could bet on it. So I know that always makes it more enticing for you.
Bundesliga and UFC, the two sports during
what a
the
time.
pandemic.
I look back on those times fondly. People say that deep COVID sucked. I had a great time.
I hated going into work, but there were some benefits. There were some moments where I mean, really getting off track here, but when NBC did the virtual Kentucky Derby and it was all the best horses of all time, and I unloaded the clip on Secretariat at like plus 150, and he had this incredible come from behind win. There's a video, I have it saved, of me like in front of the TV screaming my ass off, smacking my ass, screaming on a virtual horse, and he ends up winning. And we did mint juleps. We did the whole thing for a fake virtual horse race. And it was just, like bad time, but also there were some good times. It kind of embodies all of ESPN for us. Like, yes. Bad time overall, but there were definitely some very good times mixed in.
Yeah. And I remember there was prime time. We were watching prime time horse, like Tony Parker from his home.
Oh my God. It took Trae Young in the horse competition. It's over Zoom and he got knocked out in the first round. I was just like, what am I doing with my life? The Madden Sims.
Yeah.
You got to talk about like betting on Madden simulations. That was a wild time. I mean, yeah, it was just like, God, we just did so much dumb stuff then. Cause it's just like, what else do you do? No one knows what to do right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about getting into the UFC, the first card that I remember like doing heavy research on and like watching from top to bottom where I was like, man, I really know what's going on, was UFC.
It's 251
Fight Island. We did the party at your house. We did the blowout, the theme, like it was a luau theme. Everyone wore Hawaiian shirts. Like we did the whole thing, kit and caboodle. And like we were watching from fight one, Davy Grant. I can't even remember who he fought. He knocked someone out, but I was so hyped because I bet him. It was Yuri's might have been Yuri's debut.
Was he
in
on
UFC.
that card?
He was on that card as a prelim fighter. Rose was on that card.
Oh yeah, it was a stat card.
That was the Usman
foot stomps. Yeah.
Yes, I remember sitting in your basement having the Usman like finishing 3 parlays and just like
Volkanovski was on there.
A split decision over Max Holloway. That's like the first card where I like spent hours researching it. I was so into it. And that kind of like where I was like, man, this is like really fun to watch and really fun to bet on.
So you really got into it kind of like from a recreational betting perspective in 2020. But then in 2021, you start working on it. And then like you really went all in because now you had like a professional interest in it as well. What has the evolution of your fandom been like in terms of like when you were just a wide-eyed newbie MMA fan, just fully embracing every aspect of the sport to now where you've been in it a couple years and have kind of been through the wear and tear of it all?
Yeah. So, I mean, we already talked about it. First and foremost, the grind of it. Like you don't really realize the grind of it until you're like deeply entrenched in it. A lot of people, if you're just like you just come in and come out for the pay-per-views, you're just like, oh, sweet, UFC tonight. And then like when you're in the slog, it's like, UFC Apex 78, Holly Holm main event. Great. Yeah, let's do it. No fans. All right. That's cool. And you're going to sit there and I'm going to sit there and watch every fight on the card, whether I'm streaming it somewhere on my phone or watching it on the TV. So like you definitely realize just how much there is. Like it is a machine, dude. And
that's just the UFC.
And that's just the UFC. Don't forget, we got Bellator 300 or 301 coming up next week. And then there's boxing and we'll do wrestling sometimes. And then now there's this influencer boxing scene. Yeah, the combat sports landscape does not stop. But my fandom itself, I remember what I always loved about the UFC and just combat sports in general is just how global it is, how international it is, how like you're watching a guy fight from Australia, fighting a guy from America, and then there's going to be a guy from Nigeria fighting a dude who's from Kazakhstan or whatever it may be. Like it's always just like every different part of the world. And like America, it's kind of different because we like this is where the UFC started. There's been so many American champions, but like when you get to see a country like ride or die with a guy like Yuri is fighting tonight. When he won the belt and he went back to the Czech Republic, it's just like this is so sick.
They're national heroes.
Yes. So I've just always loved like the global feel of it. That's kind of like where I was like, man, this is so cool. And then you start getting into the fights itself. And like when there is a sick fight, like one of the ones that I remember that we watched together that I was like mind blown was Joanna versus Zhang with obviously the Mega Mind thing. That's where like I really like, because like you said, like I used to watch McGregor, like I used to watch if John Jones was fighting, like the Ronda Rousey Holly Holm. Like it was like when it blew up into like a cultural thing where like everyone is just like, yeah, UFC fights tonight, we got to watch them, and like they're putting them on at bars and everything. But I wasn't really like sitting on the couch by myself tuning in. And like you really start to get, as you get more and more into it, appreciation for like the art of fighting itself. And like you start to learn. Like I remember when I was so new into it, when like people would just be like lay and pray or just like clinch work, I'd be like, man, what are they doing? Like what? And now I hear people say that now, and I'm just like, they're working. Like just let them work, dude. Like they just like chill out, man. Like it's okay. You don't understand what's going on. Like so like that's evolved. And then just I've always had a respect for the fighters.
Yeah.
But just every weekend and week out, my respect for the fighters just grows and grows to like an immense level. Like to have the balls to get in that octagon, get in that ring, wherever, in your underwear, essentially, like you're just wearing shorts in front of thousands, millions watching at home, and fight to like fighters always say, like if there was no referee, like the guy would just kill me. Like it's just like you are like fighting like until like you knock the person out, they knock you out, or you're just going to take a beating and go to a decision. Like it's just like my respect for the fighters has grown. So feel like it's been a maturing process as I've gone along. But I mean, I love it. Like I really do love it. Like, and I love that you mentioned it earlier. It's a niche. I like that the work is a niche where like when we worked at ESPN, you tell someone you work at ESPN, it's just like, Stephen A, you know this person, you know that person. You're just like, Yep. Yeah, I know they are. They're like, did you see the Panthers-Bears on Thursday night? Like, what do you think of Bryce Young's rookie season? It's just like, I don't give a shit.
Don't care at all.
Please stop talking to me about this. And like, now it's just like, yeah, I work on a YouTube MMA show. They're like, nice, loser ass. Like,
it's so funny, like how both of our interests in the other sports, which we were like so used to be big into, the NBA and the NFL and MLB, and now it's like World Series.
I didn't watch
if the Rangers aren't in, I don't care.
I didn't watch it. I don't actually, when I say I didn't watch a game, I didn't watch a pitch. Not even one pitch of the World Series.
I've watched probably like a collective 2 quarters of NFL, and we're 9 weeks in.
Yeah, because like it is the grind of UFC. I do still watch the NFL, and I still watch Georgia football. I'll never stop watching that. But like it is the grind of UFC. Like it's just like, man, I can only commit so much time to sports. And right now I'm committing a lot of time to this sport.
I mean, a UFC card is like 6 hours long. So that's a lot of sports.
There's another thing I have respect for. Not just the fighters, the commentators.
Oh, God,
going 6-7 hours.
Crazy.
I'm like, y'all are insane. And then they misspeak like during one round of one fight. And then you go on Twitter and people are just killing them.
Oh,
it's just
gosh, yeah.
Dude, they're speaking into a microphone for like 7 hours. They're going to misspeak at some point.
I think John Anik, Daniel Cormier, Joe Rogan is the best trio in broadcasting. They just broke up Mike Breen and Van Gundy at ESPN. So I think it's pretty clear. And like I know I'm biased and because that's my sport, but like what they do, I'm not sure how many other people in other sports could do that.
I enjoy Felder. a lot.
Felder's good, yeah.
Get Felder on the broadcast. But yeah, I mean the trio is fantastic.
So are you still as emotionally invested though? Because this year I've really taken a step back in my emotional investment. I'm still emotionally invested in my favorite fighters, Israel Adesanya, Sean O'Malley, Valentina Shevchenko, Max Holloway, and several others. But I really this year have had to really like come to grips with the UFC and the sport in general and how kind of like dirty it is. And there's a lot of sketchy people in there. There's a lot of sketchy people doing sketchy things. And so it's really, a lot of us fans, we really kind of like, we know what's going on. We kind of push it to the side or to the back of our minds because we just want to enjoy fights. I'm having trouble this year separating the two. And so now I view it more as just like, this is my job. This is not like, I'm not watching PFL. I'm not watching all the MMA. Like I'm not watching the Apex shows.
We're not going to DC for the PFL World Championships.
I mean, Kayla's fighting. So
is there anything specifically that really rubs you the wrong way?
Yeah. I mean, it's really been starting around this time last year. Paddy Pimblett versus Ariel Helwani, like that whole beef. I was like, F this. Like, I know what this is. And then Dana White slaps his wife like on New Year's Eve last year. And then he just kind of like gets off scot-free for it. I was like, what are we doing here? Then like there was the whole like light heavyweight and the title situation and all that. Was like, gosh, it's just been like one thing after the other in the past year where I'm like, gosh, this. And then like recent. And over the past month and change with everything that's been going on in the Middle East, like there's just MMA is somehow inextricably linked to the Middle East as well. And so like there's just been a whole lot of ugliness coming out of that. And I'm just like, gosh, this is a crazy world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I figure I'd pick your brain on like what exactly you're talking about. I mean, that is one thing that I have noticed about the space of MMA. Like there is a lot of toxicity in it.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm just not as deeply entrenched in the other sports and everything, but I just feel like when you get on Twitter and on Instagram, like there's a lot of negativity thrown around and a lot of like, yeah, just like there's just a lot of negativity and there's always drama. There's always things involved with, I mean, you just like, you can't like, it feels like no one can post anything in the UFC. Like I'll go to a fighter. Who was I on, man? It was it just feels like you can't go on a fighter's Instagram page and then post something without, like, if they just lost a fight, it'll be like XYZ owns you. XYZ dusted you. You're worthless. Like, it just like,
yeah,
I don't know. I do agree with you that it is a negative space, but I still feel emotionally invested in it. Like it's tough to like be emotionally invested on a week to week basis because like your favorite fighters only fight every so often. Like there's cards where I'm just like, yeah, I like some of these guys, but like I'm not like die hard for them.
Yeah.
Like Tom Aspinall is fighting tonight. I very much want Tom Aspinall to win. Juliana Pena has become like a synonymous with the MMA hour for us, at least on our side. Like, outsiders don't really view it like that. But for us, we're just like, yeah, she's in the Parlay Pals. Like, she came on the live show last night and everything. Like, when she fights, I will be cheering very hard for her. Like, I want her to win. She has been nothing but nice. So, like, but yeah, like next week, I think it's like Paul Craig versus Brendan Allen at the Apex. The emotional investment won't be as much, but I am still a fan, and I don't view it as much as work. Like, I view it more as enjoyment.
All right, now on to the self-improvement portion of the show. We've spoken a lot about social media. You've got a decent following there. You post a lot of memes, which are great. I'm just curious, right now in this current moment, what is your relationship with social media like?
Whew, hot and cold.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like it, dude. It's fun. Like, it's really fun when you get to create something, like make something, even if it's just as dumb as like a meme, but people receive it well. Like, obviously, there's the dopamine hit when you're getting a bunch of likes on something and people are telling you how great it is and stuff, especially when you spent time making it. You're like, man, that paid off. But yeah, then there's like what I was just saying about the negativity in the space. Like, sometimes people can say some things and it's just like the classic, 50 comments of positivity. You're just like, cool. And then the one negative comment, it sits with you. So like, yeah, there's times where I'm on it way too much. Like, that's one thing. I need to be on it less.
Yeah. How much time are you spending on a daily basis, do you think?
Whew. I mean, between my computer and my laptop, like, man, 3 hours.
Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you, so like a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this too, and I'm trying to consciously do it less, but we kind of just unconsciously, whenever we kind of hit like a stag in our day, or we're faced with someone sends us a text that we don't quite know how to respond to, and we feel like delaying it, or we're delaying a work task and procrastinating, just kind of like a twitch. We just pick up the phone. It's like, let me just do a quick doom scroll. You do that as well?
I think, dude, I really think everyone does it. And you say like a lull in the day. It could be as much as, all right, train's not going to be here for 3 minutes. Right. Let me whip out the phone and just scroll for nothing, like nothingness. Yes. And you say like it's like a twitch. I think it is like, our brains are like ingrained at this point. Like we're like addicted to it. There was one point while we were recording here, I felt myself reaching over for my phone for nothing. Yeah. Like, all I would do is flip it over to see if I have any notifications. And it's just like, we are like so addicted to these things. But like the bad part is that they're necessary, especially in our job. Like, I would not do my job nearly as well if I had a Nokia flip phone. Like, it's just a fact of the matter. Like, being accessible, being able to get on the internet, being able to do whatever, react in real time is crucial to what we do. But like, battling the amount of time you spend on it and how much it affects you is key.
And I really don't think, especially us, we've grown up with this. Our parents are actually able to separate, and like a lot of them fall victim to the Twitch as well. But a lot of them are like, don't feel the need to check the notifications, whatnot. So I'm envious of that. But we've kind of grown up in this environment, and I really don't think we can overcome it. I've tried and tried and tried, and I'm like a pretty disciplined person. I've tried every which way. I've done the detoxes. Like, you can do a 30-day detox from social media and not go on, but like, once you're back on, it pretty much sucks you right back in as if you never did the detox at all.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it where I deleted Twitter and Instagram for like 2 months. And then as soon as you re-download them, like, I really think if you switched where the apps are on my home screen right now, I would open it up and open whatever app you put wherever Twitter and Instagram are, because my brain is so ingrained to just open, bam. Right. All right, we're scrolling, baby. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, I've tried, like, I've deleted the app from my phone, so I only use desktop. But then I just go search Instagram on Safari. And then like you do
We're pathetic. We are pathetic. Right. Like, we are so addicted to these things, man. It's like, and I really hate that. I think you're right on like overcoming it. How do we overcome it? And it's just
we can't. I mean, the people who are working on this in Silicon Valley are the smartest people in the world, and they are getting at our brains. Like, they are wiring these devices and these apps and these platforms to keep us hooked and sell us things. That's why they're all free, and they're grabbing our attention, and they're pulling at all of the the evolutionary psychological strings that we are not smart enough ourselves to overcome.
I think just like the proof in that is what's going on with Twitter, X, all of this. Since Elon purchased it, the amount of times I've seen these meltdowns where everyone's like, this is it, guys. Sorry. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Here's my handle.
Threads.
Twitter's done. Like, it's been a good run, guys. Rest in peace to Twitter. And me and my roommate Devin, who works in social media as well, every time we see these, it's just like all Elon has to do is keep the lights on at the app, and it will run itself. The content is provided by the users. You just have to make sure I can open the app, I can tweet, and I can scroll, and it will never fail. We're like too addicted to the clout. We got to see what's going on. A friend of mine is taking a hard break from Twitter right now, and he's asked me several times during this break. He's said, "What am I missed?" And I'm like, absolutely nothing. I'm like, I could not even tell you one thing you've missed. I posted a dumbass meme of Alex Pereira. I made a stupid joke about Sergei Pavlovich. You missed nothing.
Yeah.
You missed nothing, dude. Like, you missed nothing.
If it's important, this is what I've learned when I've taken breaks. Like, if it's important, it will get to you in some way. Someone will call you. Someone will tell you. You'll see it. Like, if there's something like newsy going on in the world, you'll see it like on the TV at the coffee shop you're at. Like,
have you ever? This is a little bit off topic, but it's still in the social media sphere. Have you ever noticed like the comparisons in comments between like Twitter replies, Instagram comments, TikTok comments, YouTube comments? Like I've seen people do like side by sides of the same video posted on like an example that I saw lately. It was like one was on TikTok and everything's positive. One was on Instagram and it was just like, fuck this guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, that's interesting. Like, I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, we had Aljamain Sterling on one time, and like we made an Instagram post about something that he said, and all the comments were wildly negative. And like it was just like, man, he's getting fried, and like he noticed that, and then we went on the YouTube and all the comments were positive, just like, man, love the guy, like he's a humble man in defeat, like all these things. And then the Instagram was the exact opposite.
Interesting. I've never really considered like the TikTok and the TikTok environment. I do think they are, in my experience, I've seen like more positive interactions on that platform, but X is just a cesspool, of people. And like, that's the one where you have the most fake accounts and
like
people with zero followers. And like, the fact that these people exist, I'm like, who are you? Why are you doing this on a Friday night saying these horrible things?
And it's sad. It's like, it's sad. And it's even sadder that they can affect your mood when they say something like vile to you, and you're looking at a person who has like fighter as their icon, and it's like whatever, like UFC fan 897-864-812 following 468 people, one follower, and it's like how can this person possibly affect me? Like,
does it affect you?
I mean, yeah, from time to time people will say things and it just kind of like will stick in the back of my head. I'll be like, oh damn, like fucking guy, like fuck that guy. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's human nature when someone like shits on you, and like you essentially like you can't win that battle with that person. What are you going to say to them? They're hiding behind a wall of anonymity. Yeah. Like, it's just like, what can you say back? You fire back. Now they have won by getting you to engage. And if you don't fire back, then you just sit on like, this is bullshit. Like, let this person say this like to me, person to person, and like we can actually, have a discussion, which will just never happen with these people. So like, it's just it's a zero sum game there. Like, you're just not gonna win that. So like, you just kind of have to sit with your hands under your ass, and it's just like, I can't win this. I just have to ignore it.
How do you do you ever do times where like, all right, 3 hours, I'm not going on social media, or I'm not bringing my phone with me where I'm going?
The gym and restaurants, I just won't bring my phone.
Yeah.
Going to the gym without my phone, I've started going to a gym and they just play music over the speakers, and I just don't have my phone with me, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I enjoy doing that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you brought up the term anonymity, which is something I've been thinking a lot about the past few days. I was talking to Tessa, your girlfriend, about this last night. So I know you're familiar with it. I stumbled upon, on my walk to the Spotify offices at Forward World Trade the other day, this thing called the Stranger Project inside of the World Trade Center buildings. Absolutely incredible. I was in a rush. I had things to go do, but I stumbled upon this thing that I'd never heard of. And I ended up spending like 30 minutes there. For those of you who don't know, the Stranger Project it was started in like 2009 by this guy whose name's escaping me, but I want to get him on the podcast in the future. It's essentially like a traveling exhibit. And right now it's stationed in World Trade, where this guy essentially has people come in and handwrite on a piece of paper a note that is completely anonymous. And it is for people just to completely say whatever they want. They can express themselves however they want. And a lot of people kind of take it to the like, what would my dying words be? Like that's what I thought. That's how I was perceiving a lot of what people were saying. Because a lot of people were like, I just want this person to know that I love them. This is my biggest regret. I wish I hadn't done this. I saw a few heartbreaking ones that were like, I'm sitting next to my girlfriend right now. I'm so in love with her, but she just isn't in love with me anymore. And like, we're actually sitting next to each other as I'm writing this. There's a lot of things that people keep bottled up and would never say. And so I'm just curious. I spent like 30 minutes there. I know you've been there. When you checked out this thing where they post all of these messages as well, these anonymous messages, what was your reaction when you first stumbled upon that?
Yeah, so I mean, to take it even like a step further, you're just kind of walking through. It's in the Oculus at the World Trade Center, which if you've ever been to New York, it's like the giant whale tail looking thing, and then you go deep down into like essentially like a shopping center. And I think you went to the new location for it. It wasn't a different one where it's just like in between a Jamba Juice and like a Men's Warehouse or something. And I was just walking, and the front glass panel is like just covered in papers, just a bunch of papers. And you're just like, what is this? And it catches your eye and you just start reading it. And yeah, like I've actually been several times to it. It really is just like this profound feeling as you're reading it. Like it's just like, wow, this is I have no idea who this person is. I'll never know who this person is. But man, like all these different people are going through all these different things. And it's just like, it's a nice reminder of like, you're sitting on the subway with 80 people packed into one car, and you just kind of like pause and you look around, and it's just like, that person's going through their daily tasks and they're probably stressed and they have this going on and that going on. And maybe like they just got bad news, or maybe this guy's having the best day ever and he just got a promotion. And it's just like everyone's going through different things. And it's just like, kind of like lets you like, I actually like take a little bit of comfort in it. Like it's just like, man,
that's what I felt as well.
Yeah. It's just like, man, everyone's going through something. Like all of this shit we get bogged down with is just not that serious. Like just gotta like decompress a little bit.
And it's not unique to us. I mean, this is in the heart of New York City, a melting pot of people coming from all over the globe. And so you're having people from Italy write on these notes, people from Belgrade write on these notes, and they're going through the exact same things and having the exact same fears and doubts that we all are. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, it's just like, it's just life. That's just like how it is. Yeah, it is crazy. So whoever did start that is, just an insane project and undertaking. And it's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah. I want to, if I like moved to New York City or something, I would definitely love to volunteer. I would love to work at something like that in that capacity, because the whole kind of genesis behind it is kind of what you just alluded to. Have you ever walked by someone and wondered what is going on in their life? Like, what are they on their way to go do? What's going on through their minds? I definitely have that thought from time to time.
All the time.
That's so
dude.
Cool.
There's times where I throw my headphones in and I just listen to like some sort of classical music, and I'll just kind of look around and I'll just be like, man, all these people are just going through different shit. Everyone's got their own struggles, their own story, childhoods, heartbreaks, successes, failures, all these things. I was riding the Amtrak down here from Connecticut the other week, and this girl was sobbing almost the entire ride. Now, of course, here I am sitting here. I didn't ask her what was wrong or anything. I mean, it looked like a very emotional time for her, but I couldn't help but just sit there and wonder, like, man, like, did like did she just kind of like break up with her boyfriend and like that's all it is? Or like, did she just lose her mother or something like that? Like they're just like, you just never know what people are going through.
People were incredibly honest and tearing their hearts open on this thing. And it kind of had me wondering, like, I've had a couple people tell me, Troy, you're oversharing. You're saying way too, like, you should just keep some things to the inner circle, like whether it's I'm writing on my Substack or on social media or whatever. Like, I'm just like a full on transparency person. Like, I don't, social media is supposed to be like a highlight. That's what everyone does. I kind of do it like, I think social media makes me look worse. And when I'm in person, I look better than I do on social media. I'm like very honest and kind of like move about the world in the same way that all these people do in the Strangers Project. Like what they're writing on those notes is kind of like what I write and say to people outwardly all the time. So it's kind of had me wondering, like, how different would it be if we were all just very honest all the time and weren't holding back and were actually saying those things that people are writing on those notes, what were like actually in our hearts and in our thoughts? I
don't know. Would it be good or would it be bad? Because you can take the Stranger Project and be like, man, these people are going through some things right now. Or you can take Twitter and be like, wow, people are really hateful. Like, people are really hateful. And isn't it wild how, like, what people will say when they're anonymous, when they know they're not going to be judged for it, when they know no one is going to tie them to it at all, what people will do and say. Because obviously that's how you really feel. That is who you are when you are saying things anonymously. Like, if anything, that is you showing your 100% true colors because you don't think anyone is going to judge you for it or anything like that. So, like, yes, there could be benefits to it. There could also be poor ramifications because there are definitely some spiteful people out there.
Yeah, so amazing project. I urge all of you to
Shout
go.
out to the Stranger Project. Did not think that was going to come up.
Yeah,
we're talking to Sergey Pavlovich. Now we're talking Stranger Project.
I urge all of you to go check it out. And again, I will try to hunt them down to talk on this podcast. So in your past appearance on the show, you've talked about what it's like living in New York City. Again, your kind of love-hate relationship with it.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of curious, where is that relationship at now?
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Love it, hate it. Love it because, I mean, just like, look at where we're at right now. Like, we are in the middle of Manhattan. Like, this is like
not
where people
anymore.
come to do shit. Like, we are not in Bristol anymore. Like, this is the big city. This is like one reason I love the UFC because of how international, how global it is. Like, here is the international city for America. Like, this is the place that people think of. You get off the train at Penn Station and there's Madison Square Garden. I get off. Every day, my commute to work is going to the Oculus, coming out. Oh, there's the World Trade Center. Walking along. Oh, there's the stock exchange. There's this tourist group. There's that tourist group. And I'm like, man, this is pretty sick. This is amazing. Then I go into the high rise in the financial district, and there's this incredible studio that I get to work out of. And I'm like, this is insane.
And you're streaming to millions of people.
It's like, I can't believe like I get to do this. Then there's the hate side. Also, let me continue on the love side real quick.
Yeah.
Everyone's always like, there's so much to do. There's so much to do. There's so much to do. Yeah, there is a ton to do. What I think there's an abundance of that I love doing is the food here. People used to always say that to me, and I was just like, yeah, sure, I guess. When I would come here for 2 days and go to one pizza shop. One thing I love doing, surrounding these UFC events, and I love that we're finally getting out of the apex because in the last 2 months, we've done Paris, we've done Singapore, we just did Sao Paulo, we've done Australia. I mean, we have done we did Abu Dhabi. We've done they're really starting to get international again. And I really want them to just go to the most random places.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll look back at old cards and they're going to Nova Scotia. I'm like, dude, sign me up for UFC Nova Scotia. I am there for that. Let's get the most random ass places we can go to. Next month we got Shanghai. Cannot wait for that. But surrounding these cards, I love going and getting different types of food. And this place is the best place for it. It's just
everything.
And you're going to get authentic ass food. When we did Abu Dhabi, I was just let me get a Middle Eastern breakfast, Arabic coffee, and you've got the bread and olives and all of that. sure enough, like we find a restaurant and we go, and it is just like authentic as it gets. I'm just like, wow, this is incredible. Like Ilia Topuria fought a few months ago, and I was just like,
Spanish fighter.
Yes, thank you. I was like, if he wins, let's go try paella for the first time. He won in dominant fashion. I was like, let's go get some paella. Authentic ass Spanish restaurant, incredible paella. I was just like, this is amazing. Like, they have Brazilian steakhouses everywhere, but like, did the Brazilian steakhouse. Next month, I absolutely cannot wait for the Shanghai card. I'm going to go to Chinatown and just tour around, going to different places.
You should make a vlog.
So people have said that. Like, it would actually be fun. Like, I think it would be more fun if I had someone with me.
Yeah,
because I do think it's funny. Like, all I do is, like, I just take the fist picture, like, either in front of the restaurant or, like, with the plate of food. The amount of English breakfasts I've had now is just, like I know it full. Like, give me the full scran. Give me the whole deal. Like, I take my beans. I take my toast buttered. I know what black pudding is, all that. But like, I never like give reviews of the food. I'm always just like, yep, it was good, and we're moving on. So yeah, I mean, love the food scene here, because it's just like, Google it. Like,
do you get overwhelmed by the options at all? Like, I feel like whenever I'm here, I pass by 10 things and I'm like, my gosh, I want to do that and do that and do that. And then I'm like, ugh, there's so much to do and I don't have enough money to do all these things.
I mean, it's an overwhelming city. Like, it's an overwhelming city. But like, you just gotta create a list and just go about it. And it's just great when you can just cards and XYZ, Google it up. There's a place to be. Like, they went to Vancouver. And like, I'm talking to our guy Ariel, and he's just like, "Oh, you should go get a Vancouver dog or something like that." It's like a like a special hot dog thing. Type it up. One American location for this restaurant, New York City. I'm just like, wow, this is truly incredible. So like, that's what I love. I love like it's a city with a lot of culture to it, and it's like you're getting like there's a different feel like from Manhattan. You can
for sure.
There's almost different feels like
streets
as you go up in Manhattan. Like, it's just like Manhattan is such a melting pot, and then Queens is its own thing, and Staten Island is its own thing, and Brooklyn is its own thing, and the sixth borough of Jersey City, Newark, is its own thing. Trying to get that going. Sixth borough. Shout out to Newark. The Bronx is obviously its own thing. Like, it's just like this cultural melting pot, and there really is so much to do. And you got a favorite artist? They're going to play 4 shows in New York City. Like,
comedian, everything.
You got a favorite sports team? They're probably going to play here at some point, because they got 15 damn sports teams here. Whether you want to see them in Long Island or Manhattan or Queens or fucking Newark or Brooklyn, like there's always something to do. Now, the negative side of it, the hate side of it. First and foremost, as everyone knows, it's just so expensive to live here, to where it like drives you mad. Everything is more expensive. Rent is obviously that's the biggest one. It is just so much more expensive than anywhere you are ever going to go. But then it's also,
and you get such a small space too with that money.
Small space, or you're going to be far out. Like those are your options. But everything is more expensive. Anytime I go anywhere, I'm like, man, Ubers are so cheap here. It's like, nope, these Ubers are normally priced. The ones in New York are just ridiculously expensive. Go to a bar, drinks are more expensive. Go to a restaurant, food is more expensive. Grocery store, it's going to be more expensive. Everything is just more expensive here, which will drive you insane. Like, when you think about how much you were spending in other places. Like, I am paying more than double what I was paying to live in Connecticut. And I'm like a 2.5 hour drive away now, and I'm paying, and my space in Connecticut was very nice.
Yeah.
And I'm paying over double, and my commute is 4 times longer. I mean, it took me 10 minutes to get to the office in Connecticut. It takes me 40 minutes to get to the office here. So like, the cost of living is just insane. Then like, traversing the city, like, everyone's always like, it's a walkable city. It's just like, if you're staying in one sector, like if you're just going to spend the whole day in the West Village, yes, it's a walkable city and it's beautiful and it's amazing. But like, if it's just like, like today my parents are here, we're going to go to Roosevelt Island. So we're going to have to take the subway, take the tram over, take the subway back. Like, it's not the easiest city to traverse. And then if you get in a car, just go ahead and add 15 minutes to whatever you're doing. Like, it's just like, yesterday I was coming into the city. I got in the Uber here and it said 32 minutes. It ended up taking 51. Like, it's just like, all right, so we're just baking in 19 minutes of traffic here. And that happens every week. Like, this is nothing, like, it's not a unique circumstance. And then obviously there's the subway, which, you know, it is what it is. Don't necessarily love traveling on the subway, but it's kind of necessary here. The path, like, you know, being stuck underneath a river, crammed into a car with 80 other people and no cell phone service, like, isn't doing that, you know, 3 or 4 times a week isn't the most comfortable thing. I'd rather be in my car listening to music, just driving down the freeway. So like the traversing of the city is also tricky. And then just how long, like along with traversing, how long it takes to to get anywhere.
Short distances too.
Short distances. So yeah, it's like, as much as I love everything about the city, the cost and the difficulty of it is overwhelming sometimes.
If you could move the MMA hour right now, would you want to be elsewhere?
Denver, Colorado.
Denver.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. If I had my choice, I would not live in New York City.
Okay.
If we want to, reevaluate, how much income I'm making, and we I always say, like, everyone's like, New York City is the best city in the world. I'm like, if you are wealthy, like, if you have money, this place is unbelievable. Let's go get an apartment on Fifth Ave and go chill in Central Park, and like, let's just make a day of it. And then we'll get a beautiful dinner followed by cocktails, and then we'll go to a rooftop bar, and then we'll go to a Knicks game. And it's just like, that's going to cost you $1,500. Like if you got money, this is an unbelievable city to be in. I still am trying to get to that point. Make good money, but not live in middle of Manhattan money.
So Denver.
Oh man, I would love to go.
Have you been?
Oh yeah, several times.
Okay.
Several times.
Love Denver. That'd
love
be great.
Denver. Atlanta would work too. I'd love Atlanta too.
That's where you're from.
Yes, from Atlanta. Wouldn't mind Miami.
Wouldn't be bad.
But I'd still do, like, if the show is here, then I am here.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Like, I'll continue to live here to continue to work on the show.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But yeah, like, if I had my choice of where I wanted to live, like, probably Denver.
A place you went to recently that we actually haven't discussed about. You went to Manchester, England.
God.
Your first time in the UK.
First time.
Your first ever work trip, right?
Second, went to Dallas in August.
Oh, yes. That's right. So one of your first work trips to the UK, your first international work trip. How about that? How was that experience?
Oh my God. I mean, it was unbelievable. If you could see on the video, I mean, we're rocking the Manchester windbreaker right now, Manchester United, that is. Sometimes I get confused. I just support the city in of itself. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was unbelievable, dude. Shout out to Helwani for making that happen. He was the big driver in
As he usually is for making things happen.
Yes, the man gets things done. That is, there's no question about that. So shout out to him, because it was just unbelievable, dude. I mean, I loved everything about it. Like, just like down to the simple things. At one point, I went to a pub that was built in like 1757 or something, and I had like a couple Guinness, and then I walked to a Tesco's, and I just stood in the Tesco's, and I was just like, yeah, this is incredible. I can't believe I'm finally here. Obviously, Arnold Allen.
Yeah, you've been hearing about Tesco for a while.
Made the meal deal famous. Like, I'm just like, this is unbelievable. And like, I was kind of just like walking the aisles. I was like, it's almost like I'm in just like an alternate reality to America. Like, they speak English, but with a different accent. They have a lot of the same brands, but then they also have a lot of different ones. And like, even our brands look different. Like, I saw like Foster's, like in the giant oil can, and you like can barely get your hand around it in America. They're slim cans in England. I'm just like, oh, these are just like little minor things. Like, they don't refrigerate their eggs.
No.
That blew my mind. This woman is like, I'm standing in an aisle at like 11 p.m. on like a Thursday night in the middle of Manchester with my hands in my pockets, just like staring at these eggs just on a shelf, like with like a grin on my face, being like, they don't fucking refrigerate their eggs here. I'm like, this is blowing my mind right now. And like, this poor like 17-year-old girl is just like trying to get through her shelf, just sees me just like staring. Like, yeah, it was just like, down to like, it was almost like I was on a different planet.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like how I was viewing it through my eyes. I was just like, oh yeah, we have that back on Earth, like America being Earth. Like we have that back in America, but like it's a little bit different, like things like that. Oh yeah, we put those in a refrigerator, like little things like that. But I mean, I loved everything about it, dude. The people there, that's what I really didn't realize. The people in Manchester, I don't know if this is a UK thing, period. The people in Manchester were lovely. That's the only word I can think to describe them. They were just lovely. They were so nice. They were so accommodating and helpful. Like, we did the show on Wednesday out of the hotel studio. And we had a ton of difficulties leading up to it. Yeah. We blew a power fuse, like the whole hotel went dark. I was like, oh, this is sketch. And then like I needed to get a headphone jack, and I went to the Manchester Mall, the Arndale Mall, shout out if you know it, like 4 times in one day. And one time I was going for a headphone jack and went up to the guy. I was like, do you guys have these here? And he's just like, no, we don't. But I think if you go and check this store over here, it's right over there. I think they'll have it there. I'm just like, thanks so much. Go to that store. Guy's like, oh, dude, we don't have it here. But if you go check here, I'm almost positive, dude. He's like, yeah. He like halfway walks me out of the store. He's just like, just go down there, take a right. It's going to be right there. I really think they're going to have it. Whereas in America, I feel like they would look at you and just be like, no, we don't have that.
Yeah.
And it's just like moving on. Like little things like that. And like, the tipping culture over there is really wish we had that.
The non-existent one.
I mean, I gave them £1 tip, and they were like, "Wow, like thank you." I'm just like,
dude, I got a haircut in London, and I tipped £10, and the guy was like, "I can't accept this." I said, "No, take it." He said, "Are you sure? Like, I feel really bad." I was like, "No, take it."
It's mind blowing for an American to go over and do that. Yeah, I mean, just like everything about it, and then the architecture.
Yeah.
And like
old.
British food gets a horrible rap, but I feel like if that's just like, if you're just eating meat pies and full English breakfast day in and day out, yeah, it might get old, but like they obviously have a wide range of restaurants.
Yeah.
Indian food, incredible over there. Coffee shops, incredible over there.
Coffee is so good over there. And like, this is not me being like a snob. Oh, I've traveled. Like, the coffee's better there.
Also, me being American, never been to the UK before, I was under this impression that it was going to be a lot of tea and stuff. No, just coffee shops everywhere.
Yeah, no, the coffee scene in the past 20 years in England has exploded.
Yeah, I mean, just listen to my ignorant American ass. I mean, yes, loved everything about it. There's been a few cities in my life where like I am on a high while I'm there, and like I don't want to leave. Manchester definitely made the list. Montreal also made the list. Geneva, Switzerland made the list. Like places like that. Notice they're all international. Like it's just like there's also like this like internal feeling, having spent 99.9% of my life in America, when you're not in America and you're like, I'm not in America. This is great. Let's go live it up. Like we're doing something. It just feels cool. Like it feels like awesome.
Yeah.
When you're traveling abroad and when you're not in the country that you've spent all of your life in and everything you've ever known in. So yeah, I mean, I just loved it. I loved it. I wish the Premier League was playing that week. Me and Hawani definitely would have gone to a game. Went to Old Trafford. Didn't have time to go to the Etihad. But yeah. Also, one last thing about it. Went to the boxing match. Obviously, we were there to cover KSI, Tommy Fury, and Dylan Danis, Logan Paul. Shout out to Dylan Danis joining the show last night.
Never met him.
Have met him. Great guy. I mean, he's a chill guy. Like he's my age. Like he's easy to talk to. We were there for that. Arena sold out, 21,000 people in there, and like the crowd was just going. Like the crowd was just incredible. Anytime they played a song, everyone's singing along. As we're waiting for the main event, KSI, Tommy Fury, they played Oasis, which is a band from Manchester. Right. Our friend Pete Carroll put me on. I obviously knew who Oasis was, but he was like, you need to watch the Oasis doc Supersonic. Like, you got to watch it before you go out there. I watched it. I was like, wow, this band is so badass. Ordered an Oasis shirt, everything. Like, started listening to them more. Song that I absolutely loved was Don't Look Back in Anger. And they started playing it, and like there's this big build up to the crescendo, and like when it hit the crescendo, like the whole arena is singing together. It was just incredible. Like the crowd there was just fantastic.
I've got 2 more topics for you. Do we have time for that? And I've got
I got nowhere to be, man.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Actually, do we have time? Sorry, I just got to ask my handler here.
So you did from so your birthday, July 16th. That's your birthday, right?
Oh yeah.
July 16th, 2022 to July 16th, 2023. You embarked on this 1-year sobriety challenge where you didn't drink at all.
Yep.
I would love to talk about that. First off, why did you decide to do that?
Yeah, so like I have always, since high school, like there's just a drinking culture here. I think there's just a drinking
everywhere,
culture,
especially in the UK.
Yes, like
it's more pronounced there.
Yeah, I just think everywhere. Like people just love drinking. It's the most popular drug on the the world. Like maybe other than caffeine or something, but. Yeah, so like it's just always kind of been ingrained. Then you go to college. College here is just like, how much can you drink? Like it's just like.
And you were in a frat too, yeah?
Was in a fraternity, yes. Was on the executive board. I was big into the fraternity scene. I really liked it. Obviously, you have a ton of friends and parties with girls and everything like that. And the culture in fraternities is how much can you drink? Like it's just like. I've just always been one that like enjoyed drinking, loved going out with friends, loved having fun, loved just like pushing it to the limits. As I've gotten older, pushing it to the limits less and less. I'm like, man, I should probably stop doing this so much. It's not good for me. You know, nothing really good ever comes of drinking too much. I learned during my year of sobriety, no one, and I mean no one, gets cooler when they're drunk. No one gets better. No one gets more enjoyable to be around. It's just a fact of life. Like drunk people are obnoxious. Drunk people are annoying. Like I was around countless people during my year of sobriety because I continued to do things. But how I got to that point, I just started noticing that I was getting worse hangovers, which I think comes with age. That's like an easy out for it. I really started noticing my anxiety was getting heightened to an extent where I was like having trouble dealing with it. And there was a moment in 2022, the weekend of St. Patrick's Day, and it was the UFC London card, the first one back, Tom Aspinall versus Alexander Volkov. And I did the first English breakfast, everything like that, whipped the one up, posted it, getting 1 million responses, everything like that. Go about my day, St. Patrick's Day weekend here, meet up with all my friends, green out, like everyone's wearing green and everything like that. Start drinking at like 11 a.m. Go all day, win a bunch of money on the UFC card, so I'm even more hyped up. It was awesome. March Madness is going on afterwards. Like we're just drinking, having a great time. Dude, it's like 11 p.m. I'm like drinking espresso martinis, which is like just a recipe for disaster. Oh, let me drink all day and then pad it with some more caffeine and alcohol and then go try and sleep after this. So get home at like 3 a.m. Just like drank way, way, way too much. Just like took it too far. Wake up at like 7 that next morning. Got like 4 hours of sleep. Wake up essentially having an anxiety attack because I opened my phone. And what I later turned out was just like responses about the English breakfast and like the betting and like the UFC card and everything like that. Harmless stuff. But I open it up and it's like 58 notifications from Twitter and you have 72 DMs on Instagram. And I'm just like, I can't look at that right now. Like, and I'm just like having a legit like anxiety attack to where I'm like, it's 7:15 in the morning. I'm pacing around my apartment by myself, like calling my girlfriend, trying to calm down. And I'm just like, man, this is not cool. Like, this is not chill. I need to like reevaluate what I'm doing here. Like I wouldn't I guess an alcoholic would never admit to anything. I was not an alcoholic though. Like let's be clear. Like I would just go out and have fun with friends and like there would be days like the St. Patrick's Day where it's just like, man, I drank too much yesterday. But I just felt the anxiety going up more and more with these hangovers where I was like uncomfortable. I was like, man, I like, like hand wringing. I'm like, man, I'm just like anxious as hell. So I was just like, this is all being caused by alcohol. Like I am doing this to myself. Like, you can go out and have a couple beers and feel fine the next morning, or you can go out and have 10 beers and 3 shots and 2 espresso martinis and wake up having like an anxiety attack. So like I was doing it to myself, and I was just like, kind of like, this is March. Moving forward, I kind of started reevaluating like my relationship with alcohol. I was just like, man, what way is this benefiting me other than having fun with my friends? Is there even one singular benefit? And how many negatives are coming from this? It's terrible for your health. You gain weight easily when you're drinking. It affects the days moving forward. Yep. You start eating shitty. You don't go work out. You don't want to do the work that you want to do. You just lay on the couch all day when you're hungover. There's just countless negative things. It wasn't happening for me, but like for a ton of people, like it has very negative effects on people's relationships. There's legal ramifications. People do horrendous things when they're drunk. Like, if you want to get into like domestic abuse, arrests, fights, like car accidents, all of those are just multiplied infinite amounts when people are drinking, when there are drinks involved. So yeah, I just kind of like broke it down. I was just like, man, this is just not benefiting me at all. I was getting ready to turn 30, which is a milestone that can be treacherous to deal with, as like you're saying goodbye to your childhood and like adolescence period. It's just like there's no youth in 30, like you're 30. So I was like, man, what if starting on my 29th birthday, I went a full year without alcohol leading up to my 30th birthday? And like I sat on it because, like I said, this happened in March. I sat on it for a while, let it simmer, kind of just decided like I'm going to do it. Probably like the beginning of June. I was about to take a Euro trip. I was like, all right, I'll drink the wine in Italy. I'll have the fun in Europe. And then like, let's kind of just lock in and then do this when the time comes when it's my 29th birthday. And then I started telling people, and like I like to pride myself on being a man of my word. And so like, once I started telling people, I was like, okay, this is real. And I really think a lot of people did not think I was going to do it. Most of my friends kind of scoffed at it, doubted it. We're just like, okay, yeah, man, we'll see you when you're back. And like, we went to the UFC event on my 29th birthday. So technically I didn't start on my 29th birthday. Went to the UFC event. We had fun, celebrated the 29th birthday. Woke up the next morning, no more alcohol for the whole year. So, I mean, it was an interesting way to get there, but yeah, that's how I got to making the decision in a long way.
How hard was it to actually stick to your word?
Way, way easier than I ever would have imagined. It was. You go and do your first event, first party, first brunch, first whatever it is where you like to drink and don't drink alcohol, and then be leaving the event completely sober. And you're like, wow, that was not hard at all. And it's almost like a diminishing return thing. It's like you go to brunch and you see people pouring up mimosas and like they're drinking and they're having a good time. And like the first like 30 minutes, you're like, damn, I could use a mimosa. That'd be pretty fun right now. Catch a buzz, have a good time. But then as the day goes on, you're like, oh, I'm glad I'm not drinking. And then like as people start getting really drunk, you're like, I am so glad I'm not drinking right now. And I'm going to feel completely fine. And like if you have your car with you, it's like I can drive home. I can do whatever I want. And guess what? When I wake up tomorrow morning, I will remember everything. I will feel completely fine. And I'll just go about my day. And like you just realize it's just like, damn, I don't have to drink. Like I just don't have to do this at all. It's completely unnecessary to having fun with your friends.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. In social situations where you're not drinking and everyone else is, did you ever get the urge to get on their level? And nope. I'm sure people were being like, come on, Connor, have some fun with us.
Nope. No. And actually, like to that point, I felt like once I decided to do it, my friends were super respectful of it. Like they like didn't push me. They didn't like tempt me or anything like that. Like it almost wasn't even mentioned. Like it was just like, nah, he's not drinking. And like the biggest advice I can say to you is just have something in your hand, whether it's a water, a soda, a Red Bull, whatever it is, just have something in your hand and you'll have no issues. Everyone always asked me during the journey, like, damn, like as we're going on, like, it's just like, damn, it's been 4 months. Like how hard is it? It's just like, it's not hard at all. Like I am like shocked at how easy it was.
So I gave up fast food a long time ago. And in a similar sense, I remember like the first month being really hard, and you have all these temptations and gosh, like I really could just go for this right now. But once you get past a certain amount of time, usually a pretty short window, you're good, and you forget that you ever even like needed or relied on that thing.
Yeah, and you kind of realize too, you're like, this doesn't make it that much better.
Yeah.
Would I really be having that much more fun? Like if like, and like with alcohol too, it's just like you get that first onset buzz and you're just like, oh man, like I'm feeling great. Like it's like having a cup of coffee. Like you're like, I'm feeling great. And then you go back to the well and you're just kind of chasing that feeling for the rest of the night. And you're just like, you know, it's like the classic like person who is just like absolutely out of their mind drunk, being like, I'm not that drunk. I'm not that drunk. It's like, dude, you are hammered. It's just like because you've pushed past the point of like a buzz. Like now you're fully intoxicated. And it's just like, do I need this? No.
Last thing I wanted to talk about, it is the month of November. Every November for the past few years, you have shaved you usually don't look like this. You usually have a nice full beard going on. But right now you just have the mustache going on. You've done this every year for the past couple of years on behalf of an organization called Movember. Can you explain to us what Movember is and why this cause means something to you?
Yeah, man. So it is a charity that is essentially just structured around men's mental health, men's specific cancers, everything like that. Just essentially men's health. And first and foremost, the main reason I got into it is selfishly love rocking a mustache. I rock the beard 12 months a year. It's super fun to just have the stash for 1 month. Like it's ridiculous. It's different. And, it's kind of a reset on the beard. It's nice. So it was a selfish move to start it. But then when you look into it more, like, it's just like, yeah, man, like, it's kind of become more of a hot topic, but it's like, I started this back in 2018.
Yeah.
I think I got my first notification then. Have raised thousands of dollars. Thank you to anyone that has ever donated. That is incredibly appreciated. And obviously, do donations of my own through the betting thing now. Any winnings I'll push during November to the cause. But yeah, like you just kind of research it more. It's just like, oh yeah, man, like it is kind of neglected some. Like it's supposed to just like here in the office, like we have these booths like sponsored by the app Calm, and it's just like about like, oh, mental health, like you need to focus on it, and everything's like, take your day if you need it. And then when push comes to shove, it's just like, we need you to do the work now, get it done. And it's just like, oh, but what about my mental health? We don't get it done, dude. It's time to work. It's not time to worry about that. It's just like, feels like mental health is talked about when it's most convenient, not when like things need to get done. And like, obviously everyone struggles with mental health issues from time to time, whether it's just you riding the wave of a valley. Like I think it was Conor McGregor that said, like, maybe I'm totally off with this. I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Conor McGregor who said, like, you're going to have peaks and valleys in your life. It's just natural, and you just got to ride through it. Like, you'll be fine. Like, know that, like, when you're in these bad times, the good times will come. I think Bob Ross also said that after he lost his wife. He was like, I know the good times will come. I'm just waiting on them. That's all it is. So right now we'll just paint through it. But, like, everyone struggles with it, but like I do feel like, there is a culture around men's mental health, and athletes have been wildly open about it lately, that like it does feel like it gets neglected and you're supposed to just bottle things up. And so that's what this cause is about. Like, focus on your mental health, get the help if you need it. And then also like these men specific cancers, testicular cancer, prostate cancer, like get checked, like make sure you're good. Like, cause those, obviously, any cancer is a horrendous thing to deal with, but like the earlier you can catch it, the better. So this is just funding towards screening and trying to catch things earlier.
Where's your mental health at right now?
I mean, my mental health is great right now. I am lucky. I'm very blessed to like have good mental health most of the year. But obviously, we all fall victims to it. ESPN.
Yeah, it was not great for a stretch there.
You talk about like probably like February 2021 might have been the lowest point of my life. Like you talk about like 4 degrees, walking through blizzards, getting up at 4 a.m. to go work a morning show that I don't care about in a state that I can't leave because of this pandemic. I haven't seen my family in like full 15 months at that point. I'm making pennies for a job that I hate. Like, it's just like there were so many things that was just like really bogging me down. But right now, mental health is great. I mean, we got UFC 295 tonight. My family is in town. We pulled off that live show last night that was a labor of love that like had been in the
sold
works
out.
Sold out. Shout out. Had been in the work for months and months. So yes, things are great, but peaks and valleys. I'm sure the valley will come, and it's just about riding it out.
Where can we? So, like, we can donate specifically, like, to your page for this?
If you go on any of my socials at Connor Burks, it's just in my bio right now. Or if you just want to donate to the cause period, you can just go to Movember.com.
Okay,
and you can shave your beard, be a man, grow up, and rock a mustache for the month of November.
And don't drink while you're at it.
I mean, honestly, if you're thinking about taking a break, just take a month, see how it goes.
Yeah. Connor, thank you so much for joining me today. This is your second appearance on the Found Generation. You appeared on the Troy Farkas show once as well. But again, you are the first in-studio guest, so you will forever have a place in history on this show.
Are you the in-studio guest? Because we're in my studio, technically?
That's a great question. Yeah, we are at Vox. So, well, we were supposed to be, I mean, full transparency, we were supposed to be at the Spotify offices. But,
yes,
when you're dealing with a star like this, you got to bend to the star's talents.
Things had to happen. We had to make some moves here. Thank you for having me. This was a great conversation. I almost forgot we had microphones in front of us for a while. And I just have to say, thank you for not a single question about betting.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, I didn't even think about it.
Anytime anyone talks to me, there's obviously because I'm synonymous with it on the show and everything and on social and all that. But yeah, not one question about it.
No, my self-improvement audience doesn't care about that, and they probably won't care about the first 30 minutes of the conversation either. So you can skip right past that.
And you shouldn't care about betting because it doesn't matter. Just like social media, it really doesn't matter.
None of it matters. We're all just here for a short time.
Honestly, if you really want to get deep, I mean, we could go a whole nother hour on, give it 1,000 years, and it's like we were never even here.
Well, read Surrender, A Guide to Living Your Best Life in Your 20s.
Yes, please read it.
Deep.
I got my signed copy.
Oh, yeah. One of few. So congrats to you. You're, again, in rarefied air. Connor, enjoy your live stream tonight on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel. Enjoy UFC 295. I will be there, so I'm sorry that you can't be there. I'm dying for you to take in a UFC pay-per-view.
Still haven't done it. Can't wait for the day that it comes. Hopefully it's going to, the stars will align, and it's going to be a fantastic card. Bob O'Reilly. The one UFC card I've been to, I missed the Bob O'Reilly shit. I was in the bathroom taking a piss. It was terrible.
And the main event ended in unceremoniously in the first round.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumors of maybe a return to New Jersey for a fight night next year. So hopefully I'll go back, and hopefully there's a pay-per-view in the cards. 300, McGregor, Chandler, Dylan Davis, Patty Pimblett,
Sphere,
the main card. Never been to Vegas.
That's amazing that you've never been to Vegas.
Yeah, fight capital of the world.
Betting capital of the world.
Betting capital of the world. I mean, it's right up my alley.
Yeah, it's kind of where you should be living.
It's right up my alley. But yeah, hopefully that'll come soon.
Connor, thank you again for joining me, and thank you for being a great friend. And I'm just I'm really proud of you for everything that you've done. Like, just watching this ride that you've been on the last couple of years has been amazing to watch. So.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me, and I'm proud of you as well, man. You're dealing with a lot of shit right now. So
there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
my mental health is not the spot yours is.
I should have asked you about your mental health because we talk about peaks and valleys. You're in a freaking trench, the valley of death right now. Yes. So I hope things do improve for you, and you're able to adjust to the major changes in your life in these last few months.
Thank you. I appreciate that.